Hello, I'm the Theorizer, and what if I told you that this wasn't Charles Muntz? Today, I'm doing a revised theory, because I love looking back at my older theories and making them better. That's what I mean when I say revised theory. Anyways, today I'm revising the theory I had regarding a character from the Pixar movie Up. It was on the villain, Charles Muntz. Yes, the adventurer turned psychotic supposed serial-killing demented nutcase inflicted with severe fulfillment issues. Let's hop into it. In the original theory, I said that there were two options for Charles Muntz. Either he's a chronic liar, or, get this, he isn't even Muntz at all. And the reasons I said these two things are because everything Muntz says in the movie makes literally no sense. He says things about himself that simply don't add up. But there is a third, quite fantastic option here, and it's the theory created by the Carlin brothers, claiming that Carl Fredricksen has developed some form of severe insanity, and everything he experiences is his delusion. But I still don't know how I feel about that one just because of how the movie ultimately ends, and how Muntz shouldn't turn evil in Carl's interpretation, unless of course there's some greater symbolism I've overlooked that has to do with the hero flipping on him. And all of this is why I decided to take a stab at Charles's lies and produce new ideas. I concluded that Muntz was lying to Carl so that he could exaggerate his own accomplishments. You see, when Carl and Russell first walk into the blimp, Muntz was immediately suspicious of them. He wanted to know if they were after his bird. But when Carl started fanboying on Charles, Muntz began to lie. And actually, he acted like he knew nothing about his own past. He said that he gambled and hunted with a certain president, but the Carlin brothers were right. Charles would need to be a small child at that time in order for it all to work. So I concluded that Muntz was lying just to test them, to see if they were after his bird or not. He also says that he never left Paradise Falls during the decades he'd been searching. So food can be hunted and resources gathered, but breeding dogs like this isn't something I think would naturally be occurring in this area. All of the natural canines around this area wouldn't be domesticated, they'd be almost wolf-like. And Charles Muntz doesn't actually show off any female dogs, so how would they breed unless he left this desolate location at least once or twice? Many of you commented before saying that the voice modifications could be all male, including the females, but since all of the dogs have different voices anyways, couldn't it just be as easy to fit one for a female dog? The alpha dog has a deep voice to symbolize his dominance, and the idiot sidekicks have idiot sidekick voices, so a female would be easy to make if he has already all these other voices. But this commenter on my original theory made a great point about hot dogs as well. Perhaps he could have gone to large cities in South America to get these things, but he appears very adamant about his mission and only takes his blimp out after he found the bird. He just doesn't make any sense in certain things he says. But then I realized something else, which I didn't delve into really in that other theory at all. Charles Muntz says that there have been many people who tried stealing the bird before he can find it, and that he killed all of them. Also remember, Charles Muntz was seemingly lying about his past, or was he? No, the past he said is completely impossible, but I don't think he was lying. Because I don't think this is Charles Muntz. Mind blown! Yes, an imposter theory. That the true 92-year-old Charles Muntz was killed off by this new, younger, mysterious character. Well, let's debate the similarities. The eye color is a big one because it doesn't change over a person's lifetime. The Charles from the olden days was in black and white, but based off of the shade and reflectivity of his iris, we can clearly see that they were blue. His hair is brown and his eyebrows too. When Charles is an old man, his hair is completely white and his eyebrows are completely white. Nice Pixar, making things black and whiter just to spite me. I cry every time. And I mean, his facial features are a bit similar, as are his clothes, but his ears, specifically his earlobes, are quite a bit different. And while some of this physical evidence proves he may be an imposter, nearly all of the mental and logical evidence proves it much more significantly. And blue eyes with brown hair are very common amongst people, let alone the fact that they're for some reason extremely common in Pixar films. See Andy Davis and his mom, Carl Fredricksen, and most people that are people being people in Pixar movies that revolve around people. So many of their characters share this trait. So perhaps we can discredit their eyes and hair color as a coincidence, and the imposter could easily steal the clothes of Charles Muntz, but it's the facial features that really bug me. It's easy to copy a mustache and the hairstyle, especially if this imposter was a fanboy of the true Charles Muntz. Who knows? Maybe it was the imposter's plan all along, to replace Charles Muntz and find the bird. Plastic surgery seems way too far-fetched, but depending on how adamant this guy was about finding the bird and taking credit, it may seem even more likely than I think. This man looks like he's actually maybe a bit younger than Fredricksen, which would make, literally no sense, unless Charles is a Time Lord. Yes, I'm referencing a show I haven't even seen. Dedication to jokes right there. Then again, I think someone actually made a good theory on this exact topic. Right here, though, the other thing to consider is that the voice of Charles Muntz isn't 100% identical. I'm fairly certain they had different people voice Muntz over his years, but I am not sure. The age difference gives him a raspy voice, but also, this person commented something I actually think is one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen. Up makes use of voice modifications constantly. They allow dogs to talk and animals to communicate. Voice modding. So this could easily allow the imposter to sound just like Charles Muntz. Hi, this is just me quickly butting in while editing, and I noticed something else. Some of you may be wondering how the dogs wouldn't notice that this new person was now their leader. Well, either he's very good at covering his tracks, or he's the one who brought this new alpha dog, and as we see with Doug, all the dogs will change immediately and follow a new person when a new alpha is established. Who knows, maybe it was this alpha which actually went in and ate the Charles Muntz. I mean, the dogs didn't second guess it when Carl took control just because Doug's the new alpha. Anyways, back to the main video. And I mean, just look at all the power Charles Muntz contains in him. His age almost certainly isn't the same age as this imposter. This guy looks younger than the 78-year-old Carl. The age alone completely proves it can't be the same person. He looks not nearly as old as Muntz should look, who is supposed to be 92. So, does one of these helmets and one of these goggles belong to the true Muntz? Again, the imposter would never confirm that he killed Charles Muntz, but the crazy fan would still wear his hero's outfit. And so, I'm concluding that this is a hellish fanboy, a shell of the true Charles Muntz. A fan who was insane and produced a grand scheme to replace Charles Muntz and murder everybody in his way. One more thing to note is that on the bonus disc, and oh yes, I love me some bonus disc, they say that Charles Muntz was always intended to represent that part of Carl that lost his will to go on after Ellie died. And for Carl to defeat him, that would bring him out of his depression and into happiness, the way we see him at the end of the film. Even their names, Charles and Carl, both come from the same base word. But this doesn't at all debunk what I've said here today, as that more or less revolves around the figurative aspect of all this. Everything I'm saying is literal. But this factor does aid a certain part of my theory, that Carl needed to destroy the anti-version of himself, which would mean, if it truly is symbolic parallelism, it would also have to be a fanboy. You guys, the viewers, have a habit of astonishing me with some things you bring up. Some of the comments you make prompt me to want to make more videos just about the comments. So please, if you find anything more on this theory I've made here, comment it, because I think this theory of mine can go a lot deeper than what I've noted so far. I'll of course pin your comment if you can find something good enough, but until then, I'm the Theorizer. So this was just a little theory I had and thought, you know what, I haven't touched this in a little while, why not bring it back with updates and make it better? Even though this isn't my best work, I think it's a really, really interesting idea, one that I felt like sharing more in depth, because of just how shocking it is. So comment below which movies you think I should do next, preferably Pixar or Disney or something everybody's seen. Bye bye!